At this point, when he pulled his car up here, prior to that, he had been bouncing around upstairs and making noise. At this point, witnesses say it was quiet up there, and he was sitting in this room right here, and he was quietly sitting on the bed that was up there, and he was crying, and he was scared, and he was alone. And the only thing that Terrell said at that time was, "Why did you do this to me?" And this is when Kenny is walking into here. Now, Kenny walks up here. He stands right here. This door is open right here. He's standing right here and he's looking in the hallway. He pulls his gun out. At this point, he pulls his gun out and he starts walking up the stairs into here. Now, from what I heard, all the evidence that I have and what I've heard, at this point, Matt Kinney says he walked maybe, possibly, halfway up the stairs. Well, there are 12 stairs, and halfway would only be 6 stairs. And that's not all the way to the top of the steps, as his statement states. What I'm saying, what happened is, Terrell's sitting up there quietly crying. And I know my boy well enough to know that he decides, I'm out of here. At this point, the downstairs neighbor says, "Oh great, the police are here now." She said it out of this window here, and Matt Kinney was walking by here. He didn't hear that upstairs, he heard that here. There was no, "Bitch, what you gonna do now?" None of that ever came out of Terrell's mouth. The only thing that Terrell said quietly was, "Why did you do this to me?" So at this point, he decides he's coming downstairs. He's not lucid. He doesn't know that Matt Kinney is there. He's not heard anything. The lights are off. There's no sound coming on. He doesn't know the police are here. When Matt Kinney's standing on the stairs right there, you can see backup light right here. You can see that he 3 seconds before he went into the house, backup was there. And he knew backup was there, and he chose not to wait. Now, in his statement, Matt Kinney says, "Oh, well, I chose to do this because I turned my lights off because I know that people who aren't lucid get freaked out about lights. And I turned my sound off for this reason, and I walked up there quietly for the same reason. Yet for the same reason, you didn't follow protocol. You were told to wait for backup when you were standing right here, and you chose not to for the same reason. I don't understand why you did that. Because if you know that he's not lucid and you're not following protocol, where does that put you? You know, and so here we go. He goes up the stairs. Terrell comes down the stairs, and what Matt Kinney says is that I got possibly halfway up when he turned the corner. So the door upstairs was open. And I'm going to remind you guys that there was a bullet hole in the wall behind the door upstairs. So that means Matt Kinney shot at my grandson while he was running down the stairs. He did not wait to shoot. Terrell turned that corner. It's dark. Kenny didn't introduce himself. He's sitting in a black outfit. Terrell didn't even know he was there. He never said Madison Police. That was all the witnesses here said. He never identified himself. All of them said that. So are all of them wrong, or is Matt Kinney wrong? That's my question. That's the first one. That's the question. Why are you saying you said it when you didn't? Because you have to protect yourself. What he did at that point was Terrell ran down the stairs, did not even see Matt Kinney. Matt Kinney shot up at my grandson, and then it startled Terrell. Terrell put his hands up in the air and started to fall backwards because he was moving too fast. He was running. He could not stop at that point even if he had tried. And it's only 12 steps. So he gets shot at while he's running down the stairs. It startles him. He runs down the stairs. He keeps running down the stairs, and he makes it to the bottom of the stairs. When you see Matt Kinney jump back, it's because he was only on the 4th or 5th stair. He never made it up that high. There was no fight on the 8th step. There was no fight in the house. That is all a lie. What happened was Terrell startled Matt Kinney and scared him. He stepped back. He shot up at Terrell there. He stepped back. Terrell fell down, and he sat there and shot him 8 times. Now, this man wanted to say that he was still moving at him, but you can tell by the evidence of the video that he wasn't moving anywhere. He was down. Then when he jumped off the porch right here, he looks over here and he sees Officer Christian and Sergeant Gary coming up here. And he says to him, "Stop right there, don't move." But Terrell had already not been moving. He did that for the benefit of them because they didn't see him shoot him. But when you see the video, you understand that my boy was down. He wasn't moving anywhere already. That was just something he said to make it seem like he was still moving. They got up here, they came in here. Terrell's feet are hanging out the door right here. Matt Kinney walks up here, Christian walks up here, and Gary walks in here, and Matt Kinney says to Gary, "I think there's somebody else up there." And the only reason he said that was because he had to have a reason for breaking into the house. But I'm going to remind you that 2 minutes before he showed up, Terrell was quiet. There was no noise. He could not have heard anything like he said he heard. It wasn't happening up there like that. It was already quiet. So he had no reason to go in this door in the first place. On top of that, he's standing here and he says, "I'm making entry," and at that point, he was told to stand down, to wait, and he chose not to move that way. My grandson walked the path that he walked when he took those mushrooms. He walked that path. But Matt Kinney walked the path that he walked when he did not listen to his commanding officer, when he chose to be a hero instead of an officer. He put himself in a dangerous situation, if that's what they're going to call it. Matt Kinney chose to walk that path. So his consequences are his. He killed my kid, and there wasn't a reason behind it. He could have just waited, and he chose not to. When Terrell came running down those stairs, it surprised Matt. And he said, and then, like I said, he shot at him, and then he shot him 7 times when he was sitting on the ground. Gary comes into here, and in his statement he says, Terrell's hands were down, and he didn't know if he had anything in his hands. And then slowly, Terrell raises his hands like this. So at that point, he was still alive, but he was dying on the porch. I watched Matt Kinney come up to my kid, whose leg is twitching in his death throes, and he stands on him like this. He puts his foot on it and he stands on him. The next thing I'm listening to, because after this, there's no audio in there, and you cannot hear audio. All you hear are all the sounds. Matt Kinney is doing CPR on my grandson. He keeps telling him, you know, hang in there, buddy, hang in there, stay with me, hang with me. You hear this man say, "Fuck me, fuck me. Hang in there, buddy, hang in there, buddy." Then he's working on Terrell down here. Paramedics show up here. You hear an officer say to Kenny, "Matt, you gotta let him go. You gotta let them take care of him." He says, "No, I got this, I got this, I got this." And he won't relinquish his position there of trying to make my grandson live. He's talking to the paramedic, and he's saying, "Yeah, there's 2 bullet holes in his lungs, And the paramedic says, and there are 2 to the chest, and he said, at least. So you put all these bullets in them, and they're life-killing bullets, and then you work extra hard to try to make him live. What? I don't understand that. I don't understand any of this. Then I'm reading all these stories now. Before we get to the story part, here's Matt right there. Twice he is asked by the paramedics to move and let him take over. And then somebody literally has to say to him, Matt, you. All right, Matt, you gotta let him go, you know. So then you hear Matt Kinney talking to the paramedics, describing all the bullet wounds that he put into my boy, and then you hear him say, damn it! Just like that. Then Officer Gary, Sergeant Gary, I believe is who he is, says to him, Matt, come with me. And he takes him, I believe, to the back of the house. And he says to him, give me the quick, which I believe says, basically tell me quickly what happened. So here's Matt Kinney. Matt Kinney says, I thought I heard somebody up there. Not did I hear somebody getting strangled, or did I hear an altercation going on there. None of that was said at that point. I just thought I heard somebody up there. So I started up the stairs and possibly got halfway. Possibly halfway is 6. Halfway, my guess he made it to the 4th step is where he made it to, when Terrell rounded that corner on him, coming down the stairs running. Now, he had been running everywhere he went. There's no reason not to believe he was running here, and Matt Kinney says, yes, he came running down the stairs. Now, you got to remember that this man has to justify why he just shot my grandson 8 times. And at this point, one of the paramedics says to him, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. Then Sergeant Gary asked him, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. He only hit me once, is what he said on his quick. He never made it up the stairs. There was no fight up there. He did not beat his head into that hole in the wall up there. That did not happen. He lied to justify murdering my grandson.